As stated, uh, we haven't really been able to rely on AI in the past. And again, 8 weeks ago, I started to prove something. Well, what I've proven is it turns out AI is really, really good at formal code structures. Uh, AI can convert an XML or RDF or OWL or other type of formal code, formal structured code um, into SagaPython classes and pretty easily. So using a simple prompt in Grok, and I will go ahead to the Grok right here and show you exactly what we did. Um, we were able to download or retrieve all the ISO 20022 catalog of messages and automatically convert them into Saga Python classes. And we've uploaded that into our repository, which I'll go into here in just a moment. So this is basically the instructions, a prompt that was given. Convert open machine readable sources into runnable Saga Python transactions that defines a global multi-inheritance class tree on SagaChain any account can use. Here's the syntax at you have to follow at Saga class, at Saga method, and Saga field as far as decorators go. That's something that we don't have to get into what they are. SP class account and SP class object, those will always be I call them the Adam and Eve. Eve creates every single account ever created, business account, consumer account, government account, whatever it is, will always come from SP class account. One single global instance of code. SP class object, every single object ever created that goes into those accounts as possessions, whether it be a digital twin of a physical or a digital asset, will always start from SP class account. Class fungible asset comes from class object. Class non-fungible starts from class object. Never again will you have to rewrite what fungible asset is. There's one single global instance of code, unless for some reason there's a change in the definition globally and it gets versioned. Same with non-fungible, same with consumers, same with business. So it's now just one single global class tree that any account can instantiate an object from. Very important. What we look at, we took privacy a different level. So it's not just about doing a ZK and having data that you have encrypted on chain, because that is as safe as your private keys are. But this is about where organizations can actually set up their own enclaves, their own private blockchains. They can do all of the processing with inside, create the blocks and do the transactions, verify the transactions. They can then take the header from that block and they can share that hash with the public chain, giving the private enclave the full immutability of the public chain while still leaving all of the data in full control of the enterpriser of that enclave. So that's a big change in here. And I know that there's a lot of stuff coming out right now about, oh, privacy and such like that. It's very important. Public blockchains are not private. They're anonymous. Your transaction is there, but we go a little further than that. Okay. So this is all you really need to know about is what is the domain? Where was the source? And you can actually ask AI, go out and find me the machine readable source for any specific industry or any specific regulation or standard and such. Any cross ledger LOIDs, which at this point is none. And what you're going to name this. Now, we always name it Saga, whatever, ISO in this case, and then the underscore 2022, because this will be a global ISO tree with every single type of standard that they have as their own classes within that individual tree. All right. So now let's move into what this did. So by putting that prompt in there and saying, okay, go ahead and do this, it came up and it executed this code. It wrote this code for us. And we now have a markdown file and a Python file, py, of the entire ISO class tree that we can now implement into or upload into our GitLab for anybody to use. And these are all the different classes of all the standard types that they have in the ISO 20022 tree. Okay, so now to the GitLab. Now that we're here, we'll start out at SagaChain, the overall repository. It is code.prasaga.com/SagaChain. Go there, look at it, please. Saga standards, outside client. You can see we have all of our code in here since we've been starting writing it somewhere around February of 2022. I think a little before that, Dave did some things, but this code really started. We started implementing or building the code and such in is February of 2022. A couple of things I want to point out. First of all, Saga Interop. This is very important to us. We are a public good project. This is a persistent state data management internet extension. That means that as a public good, we are not here to limit the access of any chain or any system out there. We're building a single global canonical class tree that we want everyone to be able to utilize and take full advantage of its full functionality, its provenance, auditability, ontology, and full regulatory compliance on chain and automated. So in here, you can go in and just look at, like, for instance, the ETH. Here's an ETH bridging contract, the Solidity, and just go in and verify. ETH devs, come in, verify. Let's, make any changes to it, reach out to us. We're not here to charge you in order to participate. We think that everybody in the world should have access to this new internet extension. And, your people on your chain just pay the transaction fee to the node operators on SagaChain in order to access all that function and such. All right, so, and as you saw, and I'll just make sure that you see that all, we have this for all of the major chains and whoever forks from these different chains and such like that. And we have a few others that are being put up into there. Okay, now let's get into Saga standards, where we're at. So we have these different trees. These are all the spines. Here's a financial spine. The financial spine is inclusive of every single class tree that falls under finance out there. Global coordination from and prudential from Bank of International Settlements, Financial Stability Board, IMF, so on and so forth, markets and securities. As I said, there's more than just the ISO 20022 in the standard tree that have been implemented. Those are right here. So we have everything already implemented in here as alpha code. Need everybody to go in and check, validate the architecture, validate the ontologies, take custodianship of these. These are for the world. Automotive, we actually have the automotive supply chain that we did as a test back in, or as a demo in 2020, implemented as alpha. Talking to a few different standards organizations within there that we can reveal at a later time. Music, this is a very good one. We're talking to a few of the leadership within the music out here on the West Coast and such about taking over custodianship of this. I mean, we even have all of the code in order to integrate with the platforms and such. Again, we're not professionals in any one of these individual verticals or industries, so absolutely come in and take a look, take custodianship of this, and let's work together as a global community on making a better world. So let's go into where we are, the financial. I'll show one more because this is kind of cool. I went in and all open data. We now have converted for the EU government, the Switzerland government, the USA government. And when I say the USA government, I mean the entire executive branch, judicial branch. Everything is now implemented and seeded as alpha code on SagaChain. The same with the EU. I believe there's 56 different organizations within the EU that are in here. And Switzerland, we're doing the UK right now. Back to Saga standards and back on track. Just excited about all this stuff, guys. So let's go into the ISO, and that's where we are right now. ISO 20022. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's, oh, we're compliant, and oh, no, you're not compliant. There's big back and forth going on. ISO saying there is no client cryptocurrency that is compliant. We're not stating that we are. What we're doing is we're putting the actual ISO 20022 code on SagaChain, and you would be able to, in the very near future, drag and drop ISO 20022 PAX 08 or whatever the class is that you need into your account. You have an object that now is that code. And when you transfer that account or that object to another account, it's in full ISO 20022 compliance. And because of multi-inheritance, everything that happens, every transaction that happens to that object is reported to all the regulatory and the standards bodies that need that information. And that will be putting, and that will, so you're in, so it's real-time compliance. You're not ever going back again 90 days in order to find out if you are compliant on anything. If it's not compliant, it doesn't work. So there are two files here. The first one is the classes itself. This is a one-time load. Right now we are public development testnet, so we do reload it every on restarts when we do, and we do restart the public development testnet. On public testnet, the restarts will not happen as often. But every time it does, we reload these classes so that they're available. So we don't ever have to, especially when it gets to public development testnet, this will never have to be loaded again. The only thing that ever happens is this file here. And this is actually where an account will go in and then create classes based on, or create instances of those classes as objects in their account so they can now do those types of transactions. And again, you're inheriting from the ISO 20022 class tree. So any transaction that happens to that object in your account where you inherited from the ISO 20022 will be reported all real-time auditable data. So let's go into here and you can see the body script, and we will go ahead and now just do this.